Welcome to the show, folks. It's Saturday, 11 o'clock, and here we are with a great show. And I got to tell you about this one here. So, si ustedes quieren escuchar historia de una organización formada por mujeres, para mujeres, pero los hombres sí pueden ir. All right, so it's an organization made by women for women, but men are invited. We're not left out. I love that part about it because then you get to see something from the other side. Well, I've got one of the founders of this organization who is going to be on this program today. They're going to talk to me about what they're doing with this organization. It's been around for a couple of years. It's getting major attention. Mucha gente le están prestando atención. So, mujeres, si ustedes están allá afuera y dicen, yo no sé cómo compartir, en qué envolverme, pero quiero ser parte de una comunidad. Like, you want to be part of the community. You just don't know what you want to do. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to reach out to. Well, this is a great organization that I'm going to talk to you guys about. They've been doing some pretty remarkable things. Like I said, they're getting major attention. And I don't want you to miss it because we are all from the neighborhood, and that it's what makes a neighborhood. We're getting together. We're connecting with one another. We're talking with one another. These organizations exist for that very same reason. So if you're at all interested on figuring out how do I get involved with people that think like me and want to move things forward, then get ready because we're going to hear from one of the founders of the Latina Business Network of New York. This is going to be a great show, folks. I'm going to go to a music break right now just to get you guys revved up and started because it's Saturday, folks. Let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the neighborhood.
Yes, that's right. We're back here and Latinas are in the house. And when we talk about Latinas, we don't talk about them in the stereotypical way because that's not what this program is about, folks. We are constantly debunking the stereotype, the preconceived notion, what you thought, what someone said, that is not the truth until we get them sitting here and telling them their story or telling us their story because no one's going to know it better than them. They were in their own footprints or shoes or whatever. They walked their own path. This is their story. So when I speak about neighborhoods, the goal is to get people to get together and connect with one another. And with that, folks, I want you guys to connect with me on social media from the neighborhood. So any one of the platforms from the neighborhood, reach out to me. And if you've got a great story, share it. Let me know. Hey, I want to be on the show. Go to fromtheneighborhood.com. You can fill out the form. You could DM me and then I'll send you to the form. But you fill it out. I get to know about your story. And if it's really cool, we'll get you on here and we'll share it with everyone who's listening, who's checking us out everywhere we exist. And once again, fromtheneighborhood.com is another great place that if you want to get your business known, you want to connect with people in the community and be in that conversation about neighborhoods and the amazing stories, well, this is the place where you need to advertise. We've got 3 amazing segments and so much more that we can offer you. So make sure to go to fromtheneighborhood.com and you guys can connect with me. And don't forget to check out the shop fromtheneighborhood.com, but put a shop in front of it. So shop.fromtheneighborhood.com and you guys can check out the cool gear. So like I said, we're here to break apart the preconceived notions and we're talking about Latinas. Now, if you think about Latinas, you go, bueno, ellas están en casa. They're in the house. They're there with their little tubi or whatever it is that they have, their rolos in their hair, and they are mopping the floors, and they're spanking the kids, and all other stuff. You know, they're cooking. Well, how about the fact that Latinas are out there in full force, business owners, making it happen, and it's not to say that their husbands aren't doing anything, because it's a team effort. So, yeah, there might be some really strong men in the background doing their thing, but this is really, really something that we need to acknowledge, recognize, and give credit to. And now, I said it before, there's an organization, the Latina Business Network of New York, and we have one of the founders here who's bringing these women together and making it happen. Welcome to the studio, Francine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Honored to be here.
Well, it's an honor for me to have the privilege to debunk another one. You're here.
Yeah.
And your network has gone a long way.
It has. Again, I can't take full credit, right? Because it takes a village, and we've talked about this before. It takes a village to run an amazing organization. I'm very blessed to have some amazing women that have, come along the journey and align with the passion and the mission to give back and to help and support other women. So,
well, how hard was it to start? Because you have an idea, y todo el mundo tiene una idea, right? Like everybody has an idea, and everybody's like, "This is going to be the best idea." But to get it off the ground, you said it takes a village.
Yep.
How hard was it to put this village together?
So my background is business, right? So we run this little baby as, and I don't want to say little because it's become more than that now, but we run it as a business, right? And there's different things that you need to have, right? Mm-hmm. Treasury, secretary, obviously there's things that you need to have. It was an idea. It was very tough, but I have to say, I'm very blessed. Again, I'm going to keep saying this throughout the whole show, because there was my business partner who I ran the idea by, and she was like, you know what, that's crazy, but I think I think it could be something. And it takes an idea, but it also takes the support from someone that someone in your circle to really believe in what you're doing. And believe in you're crazy, as she calls it,
Yeah.
And she said, and I don't want to start crying, but she said, you have a gift that you have to share with the world.
A lot of people cry on the show.
And I'm probably going to cry.
Yeah, and these are actually good materials, so they can absorb.
I'll just.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's an idea, but it takes someone believing in you, and actually, because it could be a lonely road, it could be very, very difficult. But when somebody believes in you, it makes a world of a difference, right? But believe in yourself, I want to say first, right? Believe in that idea, and just put your blinders on. And even if it's 1 year that you make a difference, it's more than a lot of people do.
Yeah. Listen, and I want to kind of just echo what you're saying, but I want to add something to it. First person to believe in is yourself.
Correct.
Because you have to really convince yourself to the point of obsession to say, I'm going to now unbox it out of my own body, my own mind, and show it to somebody and say, here it is. Here's my grand idea. Close your eyes and hope they don't laugh or run away or whatever it is. You did this. You found someone who then believed in you. Now you're a leader with one follower. And that is the first start of your tribe. And I think that enrollment is a really big process in this. How do we empower women to enroll their village, no matter how small it is?
Our mission has always been to, and as business owners, again, and you can, we've talked about this before, you have to have, your cup has to be full too, to be able to give back, right? So that's the other pillar that we have at Labney, which is not only helping the community, but also helping yourself, right? And I feel like talking to people about what you're passionate about, right? What your morals are, what you truly want to do. I think that people feel, people are real. They want real stuff out there, I feel like. I don't know if you feel like that, but...
I do. I mean, I generally like to feel that the meat I ate is real, or vegetables or whatever.
King, whatever.
Listen, and I don't know what's in what ingredient, but I at least like to know that it's the truth, right? Because I'm going to read the label. So this is what your organization is all about. Tell me, what are the pillars it stands on? And what are the goals that it has?
Yeah, so our pillars are education, giving back to the community, and networking. So Latina Business Network, right? So we understand that in order for us to support your business, we have to network with each other. We have to feed each other, right? That's a big pillar. So who do you know? Who can I connect you with, right? Again, because when you do good, I do good, right? And then essentially, if let's say as a business, I'm not your cup of tea, you're going to remember that I made that conversation or that made that introduction. Right? So networking is a big pillar. Of course, education is a big piece, right? So bringing in, we bring in different speakers, right? We have brought in physicians, we brought in people that are very, very well-knowledged or experts in their area. To make sure that they can give back something that the members can take home and they can apply into their lives or their business. And of course, the biggest piece is giving back, right? Because there's a lot of organizations out there, and I don't, but what are they doing with that? What are they doing with the funding that they're getting?
Networking,
correct,
education, and charity.
Correct.
So I'm not ignorant to your events. I've been to your events. I've been a part of them. I've emceed the events, so thank you very much for having me, grab the mic and sort of run the ceremony. I appreciate that. But I've witnessed this firsthand. Some of these organizations that you guys have been in touch with, which I think is a major accolade to why your organization is receiving so much attention. Why don't you list some of these places that you've helped out, some of these groups, these organizations? Yeah.
And another thing I want to say that I think as we've gone through the journey, I think another piece that we're in is being a liaison, I think, between organizations, working together.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. I want to say at liaison, I feel like a lot of organizations were very separate before. I would say prior to 2020, kind of doing their own thing. Yeah. But I think people are realizing that we're better together. I know it sounds super cheesy, but we're better together, right? So for us, we really go out there and try to find those organizations that are doing some amazing things And how do we help them, right? And we're proud to say that we're boots on the ground. So we actually go to the organizations, we speak to them, we understand what their needs are. And you'll see me with my little tab, like I walk in, literally. You asked me where my tablets.
Yes.
I walk in and I said, okay, how can I help you? What exactly does your organization need? Is it financial? Is it time?
Well, let's give some of them some light because you've helped them already.
Yeah.
But I know that help is something that's ongoing. Sure. So what are some of these organizations that we can give a little light to, that if somebody's listening right now, maybe they want to get involved with them, or they want to just drop off a bag of clothes?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of them?
Yeah, so we've supported Sepa Mujer. Sepa Mujer, they support women that are going through domestic violence.
Okay.
Incredible organization. We've also helped the Safe Center, which help women, again, and families going through. We went into the office and we were just amazed at the work that they have. They have an amazing organization.
Okay.
We've also supported Latina Sister Support, which is another organization that help women going through all sorts of cancers. They, boots on the ground again, they sit with the women, they feed them, they transport the patients. I mean, it's just an incredible organization. Yeah.
Yeah. And your background isn't necessarily this. Like, you came from humble beginnings. We had you on the program before. I wish I could go back to the episode and resurrect some of that footage, but I'd rather it be organically real, right here, felt by the people who are listening to it right now as we speak. That you go out there and you tell them, like, listen, I wasn't born rich.
No,
I didn't just have this privilege. This wasn't just something where I had access to anything and everything I wanted, like it's a candy store, and boom, here's the Latina Business Network of New York. Francine, remind us, for those who haven't caught the episode before, where you come from.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Costa Rica. We talked about this, dirt floors in an outhouse, but I have to say,
dirt floors and an outhouse.
In an outhouse.
Okay, señores, ya usted sabe, pisos de tierra. This was the white floor that if you threw as much water as you wanted on, is like clay. It just slides right off. But it's dirt. It's a dirt floor.
It was dirt.
And then we're talking about an outhouse, la letrina. So you got to go out there and, excuse me, bugs, but I need to use this situation. Yeah,
it was quite interesting. Don't go out there, and that's not to say the river that was in the back that people used to dump garbage in. But I have to say, it was interesting because I got two different I guess feels, if you will.
Yeah.
Because I had a grandmother that was a professional. She was a teacher. She was a principal. And then the other grandma was a coffee picker from Costa Rica, right? So my parents are divorced, so I got to spend time with both. So I got to see both working really, really hard, both being really involved in the community at different realms, right? Because one was educated, one was not. But I got to see both, right? But all with the same type of purpose, right?
Yeah.
But I saw the need of the community, right? And of course, the American dream, right? I came here, very blessed to come here, and was able to be, to work and do what I have to do, right? Of course, my mom worked really, really hard, but, seeing the need of the community. And also, I think it's a responsibility for us Latinos to go out there and show people that, hey, I could do this too, even with an outhouse and a dirt floors.
This is what I want you to say. Let them know, because a lot of times we have these limitations put in front of us, and we're like, well, I came from here, so this is all I can do.
Yep.
And you just said it. It's a responsibility of ours to be able to do something for the next person.
Correct.
When this thought of Latina Business Network came across, was that what you were thinking? Were you reflecting back to your grandma picking coffee, your mom working hard, your other grandma as an instructor or teacher in school?
Yeah.
What really came to your mind when you were like, I need to do something?
Yeah. First, I have to share a story, which I don't think you know about this. So my mom used to pick coffee, and she didn't have a babysitter at the time, so she used to take me. I used to pick coffee. And
really?
Yeah. So I had for my Latinos, I had un little canastito, right? That I pick coffee with my mom.
A little basket, yeah.
And I remember, like it was yesterday, again, I could cry about it. And I gave my little basket, and they gave me 5 colones. I was in Costa Rica, and I was able to buy my first cookie. And it was so amazing because I was like, oh my God. It was like, wow, I can actually buy this. And then all of a sudden my wheels started turning. Oh, I can work. Oh, I can support my mom. Oh, I can help her. So right there with just that little basket that I picked, it really gave me that business side, I guess.
Yeah.
I can work and I can get paid and I can, make a difference with
You had your first experience that you actually brought something of value.
Correct.
That translated into currency.
Yes.
And you were rewarded with a cookie.
Which was delicious.
Look, hey, desserts can give you direction. So
yeah, they can. They can.
So the motivator here, obviously, is that you were able to reward yourself or give yourself a treat that your mom maybe otherwise wouldn't buy for you. She wouldn't just spend it on cookies.
No, it was that, but it was more the fact that I was able to do something with that money. It was an impactful thing for me. So, and of course, growing up in a Latino home, I would help my mom financially till today. You know. So for me, it was always like, all right, I can work hard like both grandmas, and I can make a difference maybe with the money that I make. And then, of course, helping my mom was like the ultimate goal throughout forever. One of the things that I saw with my mom, though, however, is, I was very blessed. I told you this. I had a lot of people in my life that guided me and said, hey, you should invest in life insurance. And at 19 years old, right?
Yeah.
My mother never had that.
Now, what were you doing at 19 years old? Were you picking coffee still? Where were you?
No, I was actually in beauty school at 18 years old. I started beauty school at 16, got all my licenses. So I come from the beauty industry as well. But my beauty school teacher told me about these things. He's like, oh, you can invest and do these things. And I was like, right away, I was like, oh, I can buy a house for my mom.
This is the education component now.
This is the education component.
Yeah, so now you were taught the hard work.
Yes.
Right? Picking coffee. You get here, you get a little bit of knowledge. How old were you when you got here?
I was 8.
You were 8 years old. So, so you retired from coffee picking.
Yes.
As an 8-year-old, was somebody in the hair business and beauty school? What led you to that?
I think it was more, I just admire like these Latinas, and my grandmother, she would dress beautifully, and my aunt, she looked great. But it wasn't about the dressing. It was about how they felt with that, right? So I was like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do those things. And my mom always said, oh, tiene manos de ángel or something like that. And that stuck with me. I was like, oh, I have angel hands. Okay, I can do something with these hands. Yeah. So it was just about making people feel beautiful, that I really loved about it. And being part of people's special moments, that was also very important.
Wow. So you obviously became a professional in that space. Then you started your own profession. And, I'll let you talk about that. But I feel like there's an opportunity for you to, create or make people feel different than what your profession can do for them, which led to Latina Business Network. And that's really what I want to get at it, because as humble as our beginnings go, if that appetite to want to provide to somebody something that is in you, but you can't do it through your profession, you found a way and said, you know what, I'm creating an entirely new organization and I'm going to be able to transmit or put out what I wanted to do for other people.
Yeah.
You're doing that now, networking, education, charity. You mentioned some organizations that you've worked with. Could you do that in your own profession? Or is there limitations there where you were like, I can do it in this organization, but in my own profession, I'm kind of boxed?
I'm in finance, right? So you are a little, you have to be compliant. There's things that you have to do a certain way. So I guess my advice would be, don't stay in that box, right?
Thank you.
Get creative. And of course, stay compliant if you don't want it to mess up your career, your business, whatever, but
play nice, right?
Yeah. Play nice. I happen to, I like to test the waters a little bit, but with a good cause, right? With a good cause. But I think get creative, right? And know what you want to do, and if it's not there, you gotta create it, right? And then of course, hopefully, you have some people along the way that can support that.
Yeah. No, listen, you've had a lot of people that you supported. A lot of people have supported you. I want to get into some of the things that you're going to do, because, as I said, you're getting a lot of press. You're getting a lot of attention. Last time I had you guys on here, you were was it the noted for Entrepreneur of the Year by the Long Island Hispanic Chamber of Commerce?
Correct.
I think that's one of many that have come after that, and probably a few more that are down the pipeline. I mean, you're lining these up because of this sort of thing, because of the give back.
Correct.
It's actually giving back. I don't know if it's tenfold, but definitely in multiples. So, folks, I'm going to go to a quick break right now, but we're going to come back with Francine para que ustedes mujeres se pueden empoderar, para que ya sepan qué pueden hacer. And if you guys are thinking, hey, you know what about us guys? What do we do? Well, we got a surprise for you, so make sure to stay on there, guys. We're going to go to a quick break. I'll be right back. Let's go.
De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
And we're back here with a great episode here with Francine Meyreles, and she's been talking to me about the Latina Business Network. And I'm doing this episode because I want to get people to connect. And the guys, you can't be left out. I do have something for you. So men, stick around so you guys can listen to what's happening, because there's some exciting things coming for Labni. Francine, let's talk about the amount of attention you've been getting. Entrepreneur of the Year, right? Which that was the last time you were on my program. And I brought you back because of this whole new committee. Cat out of the bag, I'm getting involved. I'm getting involved.
That's right.
I really think that we need to make a voice for the voiceless, or the people who are not represented or not seeing themselves in these pictures. Because you mentioned something. You said, I love seeing these beautiful Latina women. Where were you seeing them?
So again, I was very blessed because beautiful Latinas in my family, I have to say. But I saw them dressed up in like suits, and then I saw my grandma, of course, like it's
But you saw them at home.
I did see them at home.
Okay.
That was always stuck out to me, right? So as a child, you get, that's very cool. However, again, going forward to when I was in the beauty industry, and you've been in the beauty industry a little bit yourself. You saw all these women dressed up and looking beautiful. And I'm like, here is a 16-year-old in the beauty industry and was never exposed to all those things. Like, oh my God, like, look at, I could buy those things. Oh, wow, look at that. I could dress like that. And it was really inspiring to me because it made me see that I could do that too.
Let me ask you this. If you saw beautiful women in your household, did you see beautiful Latina women on television in positions of business, CEO, business owners, whether they're small, medium, or large businesses? Did you see them in places of recognition that you felt like they should have been?
No, I did not. I remember Don Francisco. Everybody saw that.
Yes.
But I saw the women, kind of like holding up the prices, and I didn't really see. I was, again, very blessed because my grandmother was a professor. She was a teacher, right? So I didn't really see that coming to the U.S. I didn't see too much of that. And
I noticed in the Latina Business Network that you have created, I've met some astonishing people, doctors, estheticians or spa owners, people who run school programs that are extremely vital to the community.
Correct.
Yourselves who are in finance. I've met a lot of people that are involved in spaces that you would not otherwise think a Latina was even involved in.
Correct.
Are we, in what you're creating, are we trying to make that present known and counted for?
Oh, 100%. We have the biggest growth in business, a business owned by women. Big. But again, because I feel like people are seeing themselves in others, right? And again, it's our responsibility to go out there. It's an
encouraging thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's an encouraging thing. We've been before at the, sitting at the office of government offices, right? I've been asked, why do you go? And I said, it's not about politics, it's about policy. And you have to be involved. You have to be there. Decisions are being made in your behalf. You have to be part of it. And of course, when they see you there, you're like, oh, I can be there too. Why not? No, look at her. She came picking coffee. Why not me?
Your tribe. You mentioned it again.
Exactly, the tribe. Yes. And also your kids. That's another big piece that comes to this whole equation. Making sure that you pave the way for children and that they see you as a parent, as a woman, as a father. Look at you, you're doing it. So let me go out there and do it too.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Listen, if there's anything like chivalry still out there, ladies first, Latina Business Network.
Yes.
And now you are setting up a men's committee.
We are, which someone is taking.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Let's drop the bomb on that one right there. Big round of applause for the men's committee.
Yes.
This is your next one here.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to acknowledge the other recognition you've received. So you're on the verge. Obviously, you've gotten press. I've seen you on other shows. You've also been recognized at other events, Nassau County Community Affairs, Hispanic Affairs. They've been noticing you.
Yeah.
You got a big one coming up as well.
Yeah, so we just got news that we are being recognized as the nonprofit of the year with Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and also with Latina Sister Support, which they're, again, mentioned, the beautiful organization. I have to say, these things are so beautiful to get, but I think it's more honorable that they're seeing the work and the impact that we're making. That's what's really
no, hey, listen.
That's what
so
really
like I said,
exciting.
chivalry, ladies first, men are coming in the door now. We have a lot to handle. We have an event coming up as well.
Yes, we do.
October 5th.
Yes.
We've got the event here in Manhattan. This is going to be one that we're doing in New York City with Ellie Castro, a well-known comedian who's traveled nationally. We're going to have a night of comedy, of networking, and so forth.
Yes.
What else do you have in store? And I know, yes, I'm working on the committee.
I tortured him to do it.
But what else are we working on here that are going to help men unbox themselves? Because you talked about playing outside the box.
Sure.
And this is why I'm getting into this. So I played it with chivalry, ladies first, and now here come the guys. But we're all somewhat stuck in a box. Whether it's representation, not seeing yourself, and now you see yourself and you're like, hey, I'm encouraged, I'm going to do this too. Or was it just simply not being involved with government, right? And now someone's like, what are you doing at this meeting? You said that, right?
Yeah.
Now we're talking about men who are like, where's my lady going out at 8 o'clock at night and she's not coming home? What do you mean this Latina business network? What are you doing? But now it's getting them to also not be a support person, like, hey, hold the kids while I'm at this meeting, but also getting them involved because men need to unbox.
Yeah. So again, going through this journey of having our organization for women, and you've been, again, like you mentioned, at a lot of those events. But listen, I'm married, right? So there's a lot of times where you see the men not talking about certain conversations, right? Or not being open about it. Maybe they want to stay home, but they can't because they have to support their families, right? Or, man, I feel exhausted mentally in all the things that I have to handle as a father, as a man. But it's not okay to talk about it. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you that it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So if we were to flip the script on this show right now and you had a couple of questions, I'll let you know that being a man is hard because you're supposedly this person that has it all under control. You have to have it all figured out and have all the answers from anything that busted in your house, whether it was a pipe or the Wi-Fi connection, you got to know.
Yeah.
And as a man, that is not exactly the manual we were built with. We don't have that as an instruction manual in our back pocket, ready to whip it out and say, yo, hombre de esta casa, se hace todo. We are learning too.
Correct.
I think that a lot of men too, in failing to express themselves, find themselves in states of depression where they can't be comfortable even telling another man because of fear of being judged.
Of the ego and judge, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So this is why my thing's falling off. This is why it's so important for, to bring the awareness to men too, that, again, like you said, myself, I'm going out there and doing events. My husband is staying home with the kids, right? I would not be able to do what I do because of what he does, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I think it's so much value to.
I think you're right.
And I'm gonna flip the coin on you, actually.
Do it. Let's go.
If I can.
Flip the coin.
It's a Fran show. No, I'm kidding. No, I want to ask you as a father, as a businessman, what has been your experience in organizations out there or support from other men? Like, what has been your experience?
Well, it's a good question. And I'm glad. You know what? Finally, I get a question asked to me. So let's give Francine a round of applause for taking the position of a host right now. I'm going to say it's hard. Okay. And I think hard is a cheap word because everything's hard, right? You can say this is hard, that's hard. But the reality is it's hard in a way that you cannot understand unless you're another man. We go through pains that are not physical in terms of like labor, but we go through pains that are physical, transforming to physical. Basically, you feel it first, and then it transforms into like an anger, a vengeance of sort. Our tempers flare, our eyebrows do this. I'm doing it with my eyebrows, right? Our lips, we bite them, because we can't necessarily express this to just about anyone. men's tone is very different.
Sure.
So sometimes you come across to the wrong person who's not ready to receive it with an open mind and allow you to exhaust yourself. It becomes very difficult. So when you talk about, and your question to me in terms of stresses, men have to find an outlet.
For sure.
And I believe that anger and frustration goes through stages just like grieving a lost one.
Exactly.
So you have its impact, its shock, which is where most men get stuck. And then you have to process it and then see yourself in the equation to say, could it be handled differently? Could I have but I believe that the biggest struggle we have is that we're brought to such a standard by other men, by other women, it's just of all sorts, by our kids, that we have this under control. And we should, because you don't have to worry about makeup. You don't have to worry about anything that women do, or you don't get a cycle of something. So you should be fine. And I think that is probably the biggest hurdle
struggle,
to communication. It's not to fault the women or anyone around us. It's just the biggest hurdle in communication, because then we buy into that idea that we should just be fine and ready to go. And we become the block ourselves.
Yeah. I have to tell you, I think you said something in the beginning, which was really key, is, what really inspired you, coming here. Listen, we all have that little boy, that little girl inside
100%
that, needs a hug, needs support, needs some love, needs some understanding. And that's really one of the kind of like where the idea came from, but also flipping the coin a little bit, because listen, oh man, they're tough, this. No. But did you really get to know the person? Like, what's going on with that guy? Like,
right.
what is he feeling? Like you said, right? He doesn't have an outlet to talk to. Who does he communicate? His wife, that she's already feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah. So
this is why I feel like creating an organization that creates that safe place where they can talk about these things alongside, again, our pillars, which is education, bringing physicians come in and talk about physical, mental health, right? I think it's super important, as well as supporting each other's businesses. I come from the finance business world, so if your business is not okay, it's going to affect your personal home, right? And if your personal home is not okay, it affects the business. So let's get an organization that helps on both ends to really help to propel you.
Yeah. Everything's interconnected, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because that's the kind of topics I'd like to see the committee get into.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you.
And be able to open up that conversation and hopefully create this no judgment zone so folks can feel comfortable expressing themselves. Because I think that if there is that collaborative sort of environment, as you mentioned, your pillars, right? Education, your networking and so forth, there's a chance and opportunity for people to grow versus just simply looking over the fence and saying, why am I not playing at that speed or at that level?
Correct.
Well, because you are on your own track. You are on your own racetrack. You're not racing against that person. You are racing with yourself. So unbox it, unlimit it, and you'll see yourself get to a different place than where you are right now. Notice I said a different place, not to that person's place, because you're not racing with them. You're doing it yourself. We cause a lot of harm when we look inside ourselves and kind of just leave things to, a comparison, right? That sort of lifestyle. And 100%. I think that the more, and I hate to say, like, the more we distance ourselves and just kind of rely on the technology to do it, right? Like, for it to be there, we forget that, there is a human connection. We can't just say, for whatever the amount of time human existence has been around, and be like, nope, the phone does it. You still need the human being. You need that conversation.
You need the human touch. You need the conversation. And you as a human being, as a person, go out there, and if you see somebody having a crazy day or they look down, ask them why. Even if they're upset. Actually, I had a blood work yesterday, and she was having a little bit of an attitude with me, and I was like, "Are you all right?" And she goes, it's really cold in here. And I was like, I was freezing. And I'm like, I can only imagine. She's working and doing these things. So you never know what people are going through. You got to get into the deeper conversation. Even I know she was the one pulling out your blood, but you
You don't want to be so vain.
That's a good one.
I'm going to go to a quick break right now, and we're going to come right back, and we're going to wrap this one up because we've got a few things to pull away from this here. And don't forget, guys, we've got an event coming up October 5th. We'd love to see you guys there at the Men's Committee for Latina Business of New York, the Latina Business Network of New York. Sorry. We'll be right back.
De regreso con Anthony from the neighborhood.
That's right. Ahí están las mezclas de Triple R. And we've had a great time with you, Francine. And thank you so much for what you're doing. Latina Business Network of New York. What's on the calendar here? Except for October 5th, what's on the calendar? What are some of the milestones you plan to reach when we're going into next year? I've got a question for you, which I'm going to pull out of my box. But I want you to fill us in. Do you got anything big coming?
Well, we do have a couple of events besides your event that we're doing. We're collaborating with, oh my God, I'm totally going to mess up their name, Hispanic. They deal with mental health, and forgive me if I forget your name. We're going to support them with toys. And then we have another one in the works, but it's still working on that one. So we have many events. We have things that are coming up. And again, we want to...
How do people get involved? What's the website?
So www.labnny.com.
labnny.com. Is the site also in Spanish? So if people don't speak English, maybe they can check it out?
That's a great question. It is not.
Okay.
We need to work on that.
Vamos en eso, señores. Vamos con la pregunta que tengamos. We're going to go with the question here of the show. Here we go. If we can drop that cue there. Oh, here it goes.
I'm ready.
You've had a lot of successes, and this is probably a very good question for you because with all the success, Latina Business Network of New York, all the things you're doing, this is going to cause some changes. So the question is, how have you changed in the past year?
Oof, that's a loaded question.
Well, it came out of the box. The mystery box.
No, that was a great question. You know, with a lot of success comes, and I humbly say that, with a lot of success comes a lot of sacrifice.
What are you, Spider-Man?
Yeah. Why? Is that on there?
No, it says with great power comes great responsibility.
Okay.
Well, no, yes, that's a very good point. Please repeat that again because I want people to understand that it's not just about the glitz and the glam.
Yeah.
There's more to it. Tell us again.
Yeah, no, listen, a lot of success, right? We've been able to propel this organization forward. Really, really proud, really blessed. But it comes with a lot of sacrifice. Again, it's a nonprofit, right? So there's a lot of time that goes into it. We don't get paid on this. And again, I want to clarify that. All the proceeds go to helping the organization grow and, give back to the community in a big, big way.
Right.
If we could talk a little bit about the donations too, that would be great. But I think I realized this year that it's super important for you as a leader to take care of your health, take care of you. And it's funny, somebody said to me, my biggest thing was you can't give from an empty cup, right? You can't give from an empty cup. And this person took it even a step further and goes, you can't give from the cup. You might be giving from the coaster.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because
that's interesting.
You're giving so much of yourself that there's not enough left of you to give. And that's not healthy for anyone.
In other words, you must make it a renewable source.
Yes.
That doesn't become a burden onto you.
Yeah, and I don't want to say a burden. I want to say you have to fill that cup with where there is joy, friendship, making sure you take care of your body, making sure you take care of your mind. Joy, I think joy is a big part of it. I think a lot of us forget we're in the grind of everything, right? Work harder and, building these things, but we don't have joy. I feel like that's a big thing. Awesome.
Well, listen, you know what? I would love for you to give us one tip if someone wants to create an organization, no matter what size in their community, to just gather people so that they don't burn themselves out or things like that you mentioned. What's a way they can get themselves started and make it happen?
I would say find a need.
Find the need.
And also, find a need that also supports you and what you're doing, right?
Okay.
Because it's a networking organization, so it supports my business, supports everybody else's business, but also there's a need out there for this. And then I would say connect with as many people as you can.
Wow.
Even if you're annoying, as you can relate, and you ask them to be part of your men's committee.
Persistent.
Sure,
Let's say that. Francine has been very persistent. She's on the program not once, but twice. And now she's pulled me into the men's committee. So we have a lot of work ahead of us here in building the Latina Business Network of New York. Now, men's committee as well. A lot of things to be coming down the pipe. We're wishing for you to have a very successful year.
Thank you so much. Likewise.
And we hope that this continues to grow. I think this has a lot of legs to it and a lot of reasons to exist. So great job in finding a need. And if you guys have something in your community where you want to connect with people and find something that's going to serve them, well, you heard it from Francine herself, a person who's creating a great organization. Find the need, ask questions, connect. And I'll connect with you guys on the next show. And until next time, I'll be seeing you back in the neighborhood.